Good morning YouTube. It's early and it's cold, and today I'll take you on a tour of Hong Kong. Why? Because I'm going to show you what you do when you have a lot of numbers and you're doing a presentation. The key is not to show everything, but just the relevant numbers. You want to know how? Watch this. Listen to that, the energy of Hong Kong. I have lived in this city since '99 and I love this city. It's big, convenient, full of energy, open 24/7. Hong Kong is a beautiful city. It's also a small space with a lot of people. We have 7.4 million people living in Hong Kong. And that's a lot of people in a very small area. So what do? We build tall buildings like the one behind me with a lot of apartments. Some of them are not very big, and that's where many of us live. Yes, that's pretty intense too. Now, all these people also have to move around. They go to work, they go shopping, they go out to see friends. Yes, we have a few options for you to get around Hong Kong. The company that operates the railway network in Hong Kong is called MTR, Mass Transit Railway, and they operate all the trains above ground and underground. Today I'm going to use them to illustrate presentation principle number 9, show relevant numbers. It's time to move, it's time to take the MTR. Let's do it. That was a quick trip on the MTR in Hong Kong. I hope you liked it. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you will get to Hong Kong one day and experience it yourself. Let's move on. Behind me you see the entrance to the MTR head office. It's a big building, it's a big company. Now, they are also listed on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange, and every year they have to do what is called an annual report. The annual report will tell you what they do, where they're going, and how much money they make. Now, that is for the shareholders, the public, and anyone who's interested in the MTR Corporation. Let's have a look at that report. Let's start with the problem. I see a lot of presentations. I see a lot of crappy presentations. And one of the big mistakes people make is that if they have numbers, they want to show all their numbers. It's like they copy-paste the Excel sheet and put it into PowerPoint, and they think people will like their numbers, they think all the numbers are relevant, and they think people will remember it. Big mistake. What you want to do is you want to find a few numbers that illustrate the point you want to make, and you want to take them out, draw them out, and make them very obvious and put them in front of the people in the room so they go, wow, now I understand. Let's go back to the MTR and use them as an example. Let's look at that annual report. I have it right here. Look at this. It's amazing and it's huge. Now, every company on the stock exchange in Hong Kong will issue a report like this every year. I can't imagine how many hours go into this, but it's a lot. And in this report you will find an update on the business, what they've been doing, where they're going, a lot of numbers, a lot of stuff. It's just very detailed. You see? A lot of details. Now, it's big. It's more than 300 pages and it's also really heavy. Now let's test that. Let's test how heavy it actually is. Now, to make this happen, I've actually borrowed my wife's kitchen scale. So before she finds out, I better get this done quickly. I am ready, let's do it. Let's turn this thing on. There we go. And now I'm gently going to take this monstrosity of the annual report from MTR and put it on top. There we go. I'm just going to hold it in place. I'm not pressing anything. 1.16 kilo. That is insane. That's like 2.4 pounds of paper. And here's the thing, every year they print hundreds of these. And so does every other company in Hong Kong that is on the stock exchange. How many trees do we have to take down to make this happen? Crazy. And this is 2018. What happened to having things online and putting it in the cloud? I think there's room for improvement. All right, let's get back to why we are looking at this annual report. Before I get in serious trouble, I better get this thing back to my wife. So let's say you're coming to Hong Kong. First time, you're a tourist, you want to get around town and you want to know a bit about the MTR. So you call me and say, can you help me? And I go, yeah, I have this amazing annual report. It's really solid and it has so much information. Why don't you read that? And you might go, are you crazy? Yeah, I am, but that's a different story. But it wouldn't make sense. No one is going to read this. So what I decided to do was to give myself a task where I'm only allowed to pick 3 numbers. 3 numbers from this report to show you kind of like the magnitude of the MTR in Hong Kong. This is what I found. After a lot of reading, I picked 3 numbers. Let's look at them. Number 1, I picked what they call passenger journeys. It's basically how many one-way tickets they sell every day. I thought that would give a tourist or a person a good idea of how big MTR is and how many people actually go through the whole railway network every day. Number 2, I picked the average ticket price. Obviously you want to know how much do I pay when I go on this train. And last but not least, punctuality. Are these people on time? Can they deliver? Important. There's nothing worse than standing there waiting for your train and you don't know when it's going to show up. Let's look at the numbers. The first number is passenger journeys. How many one-way tickets do they sell every day? And the number is 4.65 million. That's a lot of tickets in a city with 7.4 million people. Yeah, a lot of people use the MTR. How much do they pay? On average, fare is $1.15. Now in Hong Kong you pay based on distance, so if you go further you will obviously pay more. So sometimes I pay less than $1, sometimes I pay more. Now let's look at punctuality. This is the killer. 99.9%. That is insane. That is absolutely phenomenal. In Hong Kong we have a saying, if the MTR is late, it must be in the news. Yeah, I'm reading the news, the latest paper. I see nothing about the MTR. I guess they've had another great day. You might go, wow, that looks great. But I'm not an expert in trains. I'm a tourist. So how does that actually compare to other big cities with subways, railway systems? I have done a comparison. So here's what I did. I picked 2 other cities that you know, London and New York. Same 3 numbers to show how these cities compare to each other. Let's find out. Now let's see how London and New York compare to Hong Kong. We are going to start with passenger journeys. So Hong Kong had 4.65 million journeys every day. London has 3.75 and New York comes out on top with 4.9 million. But remember, both London and New York have more people living in their cities. Let's look at average ticket price. Price is important. Whether you live in the city every day and go on the train every day, or whether you are a tourist, you want a good price for your train journey. So average ticket price in Hong Kong was 1.15. Let's look at London and New York. Boom! London, $4.25 for a one-way ticket. That is really expensive. Now, London varies depending on what zone you travel to and from, but this is the average. And New York, 2.75, kind of in the middle between London and Hong Kong. So here, Hong Kong wins at 1.15. Let's look at punctuality. Hong Kong had this amazing 99.9%. Now, knowing people living in other big cities, I believe that's not the case where they live. Let's look at London and New York. London has 97%, which is pretty high. It's pretty good. New York sucks. Come on, New York, you can do better than this. 63%, that is so bad. Now, I know New York is working on this, but people, step it up. So if we look at all these numbers, I think we can say that Hong Kong came out on top. Yes, really good ticket price, and yes, the trains leave and arrive on time. It's amazing! Let's move on. Now, you might not be a tourist, you might be some investor, someone who's interested in business. And behind me you see the business district of Hong Kong. Yes, you can smell the money. There's a lot of money in Hong Kong, and a lot of it is behind me. Now, if I'm looking at the MTR report and I want to find 3 numbers to illustrate business, finance, what 3 numbers would I pick? Let me show you. Just 3 numbers to show you what kind of business MTR is. Now, I know some of you might work in finance and you look at me and go like, dude, you're crazy. 3 numbers, there's no way. When you're in the financial world, when you're in the business world, you look at a lot more numbers, and I get it. Every company has a profit and loss, cash flow statement, and a balance sheet. So just taking 3 numbers is really oversimplifying. That makes my challenge even bigger. So let me show you 3 numbers. What did I pick? First number I picked was revenue. Revenue is the total amount of money coming into the company, and that will give you a pretty good idea about the size of the company, what kind of company we're dealing with. Second number I picked was net profit. Net profit is how much does this company make? What is left after they paid all the expenses and they paid the tax man? Are they making money or are they losing money? And the last number, the third number, is the stock price. Why would I pick the stock price? Some companies don't even care too much about their own stock price. Let me tell you, the stock price is the market. The higher the stock price, the better performing stock, the more the market is interested in your business. It's kind of like, yes, we believe in you. So 3 things: revenue, net profit, and stock price. Now let's look at the numbers. Revenue. In 2016, MTR made $5.8 billion US dollars. $5.8 billion US dollars. That's a pretty good sized company. Now, did they make money or not? Yes, they did. Net profit of 1.3 billion US. That is a healthy net profit. That's actually a 23% net profit. Boom. Very strong. Last but not least, stock price $4.7. So 5.8 billion revenue, 1.3 billion net profit, and a stock price of 4.7. So you might go, so what? It's just 3 numbers. What do they tell me? There's no context. Is it good? Is it bad? You're not comparing it to any other company. I don't know what they've done in the past. So let me help you. I have decided to compare these numbers to 2015. So at least we know whether this year, 2016, is better or worse than the previous year. Here we go. So if I look at the revenue, you will see that the revenue has gone up with 8.3%. Now, for Hong Kong, In a mature market, I would say that's a pretty good increase. Now let's look at the net profit. Boom! Down 21%. That's a big drop. Now since the revenue has gone up and we know the net profit has gone down, it must be caused by increased higher expenses. Now I can't tell you what the expenses are. We will have to go and drill into the profit and loss and have a closer look. But all we can say is there's definitely some issues around the expenses. Now, lastly, stock price up with 14.9%. That's a pretty good increase. Is that a general market increase? We would have to look closer, but at least it tells me that the market is still interested in the stock and they're willing to pay a higher price to get into the MTR company. Not bad. That was a quick snapshot of the MTR Corporation. Yes, just 3 numbers. And yes, you can do a lot more. But here's the thing, if you're just doing a general introduction to the company and you want to place the company on the map and give people a bit of an idea of their financial performance, these 3 numbers, good place to start. If you want to know more, get this. That was the tour of the MTR. I hope you found it useful. I hope you learned something. Yes, it was simplified. And yes, I know some of you might be looking at me go like, really? Only 3 financial numbers? Yeah, and I get it. I get if you're an investor, if you're a financial analyst, you of course want more numbers. You want to look at everything. That was not the point. The point was to see the power in just picking a few numbers to illustrate or bring something to life. Now, back to you. Next time you go and do a presentation, you're standing up there, you're ready to go. Before you do that, look at the numbers in your presentation and reduce the amount that you show. Simplify. Less is more. Now I can see someone is sitting out there going, really, Thomas? No. All my numbers are important. All of them. That is bullshit. So if you can't reduce the amount of numbers that you have, call me. Yeah, call me. I will help you take out numbers and simplify. Deal? All right. Go back, really carefully look at what you have, simplify. People in the audience will love you when you bring less numbers. Make it more punchy, less numbers, make your point stand out even more. Boom. One more thing. I'm not paid by the MTR Corporation. I don't work for them. They don't pay me to do this video. Why did I pick them? It's a Hong Kong company. They do amazing things. And I can actually show you their product. Boom. We are at the end of the video. This is Thomas Bay, also known as Coach Bay. Thank you for watching. I'm sitting on the Airport Express, which is another train operated by the MTR. And this train will take you from downtown Hong Kong to the airport and the other way. So if you ever visit Hong Kong, this is the train you will take. And it's fast, and yes, it's convenient. Now, I encourage you to take what you have learned about numbers in this video and apply it to your own presentation. So just find the key numbers and find a way to blow them up and make them really relevant to the people in the room, and you will get more fans. I hope you like. I encourage you to subscribe, add comments and questions below, and I will be back next week with another video. Until then, say no to crappy PowerPoints and fight for what is right. Make better presentations, tell better stories. Stay tuned for more. Over and out from Hong Kong. Peace.